Good trip up to Missouri. The women have been very surprising this year. We're 3 for 3. Beat a team in Missouri that I don't think we've beaten probably in the last 3 or 4 years, and on their home course. And I think we had 16 or 17 teams in the competition from around the Midwest, and we were able to win. That was it's really good for our momentum and good for this women's program has really kind of flipped the switch culture-wise over the last year, and that's been exciting to see. And I told them, and it sounds cliche a little bit, but regardless of the outcome, I was proud of how we got to the point where we're at right now. And obviously, we've got a lot of work to do to get better, and we have not faced the best teams in the SEC, which is absolutely loaded. So we know this doesn't mean we've arrived by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a good start and good point to be at. On the men's side, Eric Cazares, it just kind of keeps cementing himself as maybe one of the best guys in the country right now. He broke the course record by, I believe, by nearly 20 seconds again this week at Missouri, and I know the conditions were not ideal for breaking course records by any stretch of the imagination. We go north and we get hot, humid weather, whereas the week before here at home we had beautiful weather. Eric, the guy who held the course record, I believe he was 4th in the SEC last year, and like I said, Eric smashed the course record, took the race from the gun, just ran aggressively, and just dared anybody to come with him. We'll see how things go, but right now I've been very fortunate to coach some really good athletes over the years, and Eric has definitely stepped up to the level of a guy that looks like one of the best guys in the country right now.
All right, we'll start with some questions. We'll go to Tyler in the back. Oh, unless Richard's got a question right here. Richard Zane from Texas, right here on your right.
Coach, you talked about Cazares. How real are his All-American hopes, and what makes him such a great athlete?
Well, it's hard to say, but this is a really good year because it's a weird year having so many super seniors. It may be one of the toughest years ever to be All-American, but I would say they're pretty doggone legit. I don't, it's hard to say because, but the people that he's run faster than, on our course he ran 20 plus seconds faster than a guy who won the SEC championships and went on to be an All-American, and much faster than guys that went on to be Olympic trials finalists, et cetera. So I don't know. I think they're legit chances to be an All-American. We'll see. He might be thinking bigger than that, to be honest with you. But we're not going to talk too much about that till we get closer to the end of the season. But what makes him a great athlete is, obviously, one, he's talented. And probably coming out of high school did not know how talented he was. I don't think I knew how talented he was. That's a long story about the recruiting process of him losing him to Oklahoma, then him transferring to A&M, et cetera. But he's a driven guy. He's running with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think he knows now he knows he's good, and he had a great first year at A&M as far as kind of like opening his eyes as to how good he could be. And then last year through COVID, his dealing with being sick plus being injured, et cetera. It was a very rough second year at A&M last year for him, and he's come into this year bound and determined to run well and stay healthy and be consistent. So, a driven young man, for sure.
Again, this is Wendel McRaven from Cross Country. We'll go to the back behind the TV lights to Tyler from KBTX.
Coach, on the women's side, how surprising is this? Perfect 3-0 start. Were you expecting it? And kind of from what you've seen, what's the ceiling of that team?
Definitely was not expecting it. I told somebody after the Missouri meet, if somebody would have told us we're going to be 3 for 3 at this point of the season, I would have told them they're crazy, because we obviously struggled last year. Last year was a rough year for us, and I was, the goal coming in was just to be better and to develop a better team culture. I don't know what the ceiling is. Both the men and women were running on tired legs this past weekend, coming 6 days after racing at home, traveling up there, continuing to work hard because we're focusing on the end of the season. So I don't know what the ceiling is. And I really don't know how good we are. We really don't know that for a fact until we really face, some nationally ranked type teams. And so I'm just gonna, we're enjoying it while we can, but we're understanding. I think the young ladies understand that we've still got work to do. It's been nice to add. I think part of the reason is we've added some good freshmen into the mix, and they've stepped right in, and brought a lot of positivity as well as a lot of excitement, and I think that's helped our upperclassmen. And so I don't know. I was not expecting it. I was just I was expecting it to be better because I saw how they trained during the summer and I saw how they came in at the beginning of the season. But definitely wasn't expecting to come in and be 3 for 3 at this point of the year.
Let's go to Travis Brown right here in front.
Yeah, with Eric, I know he kind of was laughing at the fact that he jumped off the gate in the first race and kind of got to the head of the pack, maybe a counter to what y'all wanted him to do. But has that kind of been his mindset, his MO, that's kind of helped him push himself to get to where he is right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he set the bar pretty high for himself, and you know, I just think he wants to. He knows we talked his first year here, and we talked a little bit last spring. I thought I thought a little bit last spring when he was coming off of being sick that he was kind of settling for just being good, and I told him I didn't want to coach him to be good. I wanted to coach him to be one of the best in the country because I could see he had that ability. His first year, he came in off of very little, qualified for NCAA championships as his first year at A&M in cross country. Scored in the SEC indoors. I think he's number 3 all time in the 5K list behind some pretty good guys on our indoor 5K. And then we had the season wiped out with COVID, and then we kind of muddled through last year with all the stuff going on. And I told him last spring, I said, I don't want you to be content or happy with being good, because he reacted to a race. I think he ran okay, and he seemed a little too happy about it. I'm like, come on, man. And I think, he already had that in him. I was just reminding him of that a little bit, that he could be one of the, he has the potential to be really, really good. And so I think he's kind of taking that to heart, and he realizes, hey, I don't have forever. When you're a freshman, sometimes you feel like, oh, I got all kinds of time. Well, maybe with COVID, super seniors and stuff, he might have a forever, but he realizes he wants to be good now, and so he's starting to make those steps.
Let's go to Brian right here in the middle from the battalion.
Hey Coach, with SEC championships coming up in less than a month, I know you don't want to look that far, but you guys have had men's runners of the week, freshmen of the week so far. So what does that just do for the team's confidence getting ready to go into this conference play?
Yeah, I think for our women particularly, I think getting the wins, sometimes you can set up your schedule to get those kind of, get those confidence boosters. We didn't necessarily do that because we're going to Missouri because it's the SEC championship course. We want to see it again. We've been there before. We've never won there. But yes, it definitely helps. There's no doubt about it. That's, you want that kind of positive momentum. For Eric, I know he's got a lot of confidence right now. The men got beat up a little bit this week, and the women actually benefited. The men raced first, and the women got to see the men's race, and they learned some lessons from the men's race, and they took those lessons to heart and executed perfectly. The men could have done a lot better. They both were running on tired legs, but they could have run a lot better. So yeah, I think, but yeah, there's definitely confidence going to this, and we when you say we don't want to think that far ahead, we're always thinking that far ahead because we're always focusing on the championship time of the season. That's what everything we do is preparing for that time of year, and these are all the steps along the way that we're trying to, because our SEC season is one day, yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up with Tyler and Rebecca as a follow-up for you.
And Coach, kind of going off of that, with your next meet being here at home, how much more, I guess, energy and excitement does just both teams have with the success that Eric's having and just both teams?
Well, yeah, they're always excited to run at home. I tell you what, I probably undervalue that sometimes, but our kids don't. Our kids love it. They love the fact that their friends, their family, the track and field, the entire track and field team is going to be out there cheering for them. They constantly talk about how fun that is to be at home and race at home. So there'll be excitement about that. I think our kids they know the course. It does. There is no doubt about it. There's a home field advantage being at home and running on that course. The competition will get better. I think I looked at this morning, I think there's 34 women's teams and 33 men's teams, so it'll be a bigger field. That's really valuable for us because particularly for kids that might qualify onto whether it's a team or individual qualifying onto the NCAA national meet, you're in a big field, it's easy to get lost in a big field. And even the SEC meet with only 14 schools, it's still, you can get, if you're not paying attention, you can get lost in the field easily. So it's